Dear participants to the Warwick Economic Summit 2015, I'm sorry that I cannot be there with you today. Now, in its 13th year, the conference has become a reference forum where leading figures from politics, academia, journalism and business meet and discuss with a challenging audience of talented students. I'm glad that you have put the European Union at the center of the debate. This is indeed a timely topic, as 2015 will be a key year in EU affairs. The beginning of the year has already proved that the strength of the Union will be tested on a number of levels: security, politics and economics. The heinous attacks against Charlie Hebdo and the Jewish supermarket highlighted how the fight against terror must be a European as much as a national priority. Strengthening the internal security of the European Union will top the agenda of executives and legislatures alike in member states and in the European Union. The European Parliament will be a central player to ensure that security is strengthened, but that the liberties on which our project is founded are properly and transparently safeguarded. The soil for centrifugal forces in Europe in 2015 remains fertile everywhere. More than 10 national and regional elections will take place in the European Union this year. Eurosceptics, populists and extremists bank on a deteriorating scenario to reap electoral benefits. All that is needed for these forces to succeed is that moderate forces remain immune to the urgent need to undertake reform. The EU has no magic wand to solve all of Europe's problems. To quickly reignite growth and bridge the economic and social division that risk tearing it apart, a new sense of urgency is, however, finally taking hold. On the economic front, the EU must firstly focus on completing the single market and make it fairer. For firms and industries, the attractiveness of the EU rests on the offer of a market of potentially more than 500 million consumers. It offers economics of scale, standards and legal certainties. What can no longer be tolerated is that companies exploit the benefit of the single market, but at the same time massively play one member state against the other in a game of tax competition. For the single market to succeed, the European Commission needs to make the dismantling of tax fraud, tax avoiding, tax evasion and the fight against tax havens a core objective for 2015. The European Commission faces an uphill struggle in an area that is jealously guarded by member states, but there is now a strong political momentum and it must spare no effort in forcing progress on this matter. Second, the EU needs to break the ideological dispute between austerity-minded and profligate-minded politicians by putting sound investment at the center of its action. The investment plan proposed by the Juncker Commission must be supported not only by other EU institutions and private investors. It must also include key support, including financial, from the member states. The Commission's proposal of excluding contributions to the fund from the calculation of an eventual excessive deficit provides a very real way to encouraging the ownership of the fund by the member states. On the international front, the EU must not shy away from its responsibility in facing the pressing global challenges. It is our duty to be a responsible and constructive global actor, both towards our partners and also for the prosperity and security of Europe's citizens. The EU must be in the driving seat to stabilize its neighborhood. Part of the mistrust of citizens comes from the perception that they are subjects rather than actors of the political and commercial village that the world has become. The EU must prove them wrong. Whether we look at the transatlantic trade negotiations, the situation in our southern and eastern neighborhood, migrations or events further abroad, the EU must show greater firmness, fairness and engagement. I am sure this conference will help you all develop a deeper understanding of the manifold challenges the European Union is faced with and possible answers to them. Thank you for your engagement and thank you for your attention.